So I hope some of you brought some gear tonight. I have something tucked in my bag, and so does my husband, but okay. Well, welcome. Who would like to begin? Who's got a piece of gear? Who does? Barb. Barb, you are our #1 candidate. Barb's got a bag full of tricks here. She always has a bag full of tricks. So let's learn what she has. We've got, yeah, you can use these chairs, you can use this microphone if you want. I can hold things for you and you can talk in the microphone. It is a small group, so maybe we don't need the microphone right here.
Okay, I have 2 examples of lightweight backpacking stoves. Right. It's near my table. I'm sorry I'm not organized.
You are organized. You've got these things in your bag.
This is my first stove. It's a little piece of metal and a little piece of hardware cloth. Hardware. That's my stove.
Oh my God.
So what does it burn? It burns these little SBIT tablets. Hard solid fuel. So you open one of these up. Here's one that's open.
You're not going to like it.
And I set it on there.
That's steel wool or something?
No, it's this.
No, this is a little piece of metal.
Yeah.
And this is a little piece of wire with what on it, Barb?
It's hardware cloth. So you know the hardware cloth, the 1/2 inch? I'll pass it around, you can see it. So it's hardware cloth. So you can buy stoves for the SBIT tablets, and they fold up, but they have a little bit of weight to them. And you really don't need those, because this is just a piece of hardware cloth, and then what's on it is a piece of metal, because this, as it burns, will fall through the hardware cloth. So I put a piece of metal on it, and I cut holes in the metal so air can get up underneath it. And, right here.
Yeah, honey.
Okay, so continue with the table.
Okay.
You set it on racks or something?
Or 2 hands.
So then using hardware cloth, you make a little
Oh.
thing, and then the pot sits on that.
So how hot does it get?
I can heat, not boil, but heat 3 cups of water, which is enough for Lydia and I for a meal. So it has to be treated water because it's not going to boil it to purify it. And so you put your pot on top, and like I said, it'll heat water. So we put the pot on, and then we put, I didn't bring a pot, sorry. And then we cover the pot with just tin foil. We're big on tin foil. And then you can put tin foil around the outside for, yeah, for windscreen. Lightweight tin foil. So this would go around the outside and block the wind from stumping out the flame.
This tin foil is kind of folded over. It's a few layers of it.
We can pass it around.
I can take my $100 canister stove back to
Now, here's the catch. The SBIT tablets are cheap, so you can get them in a package of like maybe 12 for $7 or $8. I'm not sure the price. There was somebody at the last gear swap that was selling a bunch of them. So yeah, what's great about that is it works in the winter, so you don't have to worry about like temperature or preheating the stove. And we used it on the John Muir Trail, 28-day trip. We used that for, we carried 3 tablets for a day, 1 for breakfast, 1 for dinner, and then a spare in case we want something warm for lunch, or if it's cold weather and we want an extra cup of cocoa. And those spares kind of build up over time. I like saving, like accumulating them in case an emergency happens and I need to have them.
Propane stoves don't really work with cold.
No, or in high altitude.
Or high altitude.
Yeah, so when we were on the John Muir Trail, we actually came across a couple that were out of fuel. And I said, well, the only fuel we have are SBIT tablets. And they're like, perfect, we'll take it. So we gave them like 6 SBIT tablets to get through. Maybe between 5 and 10 minutes. It's enough to heat 3 cups of water. Yeah. So that's my first lightweight stove. That's the very lightweight stove. And the nice thing is with the tablets is as you burn them, they come in, I'll pass this around too. They come in little plastic. You gotta find one that's not beat up. It's kind of beat up. So when you carry them for a while, they get beat up after a bit.
Barb,
Yeah.
do you heat it up 3 cups all at once or 3
Yeah.
cups separately?
3 cups all at once.
Okay.
They come in a little plastic, that's kind of, container. So they're self-contained, so as you use them, you just end up collecting these little plastic containers. So it's not like you have a fuel bottle left over after your fuel is gone. You just have these little plastic containers that we just kind of stack up and use them.
Can you take these on airplanes? Can you put them in your baggage?
They don't know what they are. They think they're sugar cubes.
Okay.
So yes, I have
Because
flown
they're not
them out
exposed.
west. When we went to do the John Muir Trail, we
Yeah.
flew those out in our, with our food canister, with our gear, because they don't really know that they're okay. What's that? It does look like sugar. I don't recommend eating it like sugar.
Okay.
Okay, so
Good.
the next lightweight stove is this one. This is a Pepsi Can Stove. It's an alcohol stove. So this would be the next stove I would take if I'm not going to take that one, because that one has some price to it. It has some cost to it because those tablets aren't cheap, but it's very handy. And it burns denatured alcohol. So for a few bucks, you go to the hardware store where you have your paint strippers and things like that, and you get denatured alcohol. Not those kind of strippers. And this is a Pepsi Can Stove, which someday we should have a workshop on.
You know, Saturday workshop for that, we'll do that.
Mark, if in a pinch, can you use vodka?
Do you know, people are going to liquor stores and buying up vodka to make hand sanitizer. And I was told at the liquor store, because I went to buy wine, that it won't work because you need 60% alcohol for a hand sanitizer, and vodka is only 40%. So I guess they're stocking up for other reasons.
So you can use those denatured alcohol by the gallon?
Yeah, they probably are. So this is,
cubes in there, or would it be too hot?
so I would not use the cube on the inside, but if you turn it upside down, you could use the Esbit tablets on this side.
And then you just need that basket thing on top of.
Yeah, and then you put the basket thing around. So I use that hardware, that circle hardware cloth around this one also. If you put the pot right on this design, you'll snuff it out. I've seen versions of this where the holes are around the side, and then you put the pot on top and then snuff it out.
This is what you call hardware cloth?
Yes, that's called hardware cloth. If you go into Home Depot and ask for hardware cloth, that's what you buy.
Okay.
It's like chicken wire.
It's a 1/4 inch. No, chicken wire is the rectangle.
Yeah.
And this is hardware cloth. 1/2 inch, you can continue. 1/2 inch hardware cloth. So this sits in the inside, and so what goes on, what you do is you pour the denatured alcohol in here, and the advantage of this is you can get it to burn longer than an Esbit tablet. And by the way, with the Esbit tablet, if you just want it to burn longer, when the Esbit tablet's out, you just slip another one in there, and it starts off the last one, and you can continue heating. You would just use more than one for your meal. We tend to use one per meal. So denatured alcohol goes in here, and I'll pass this around. What this is the bottom of 2 Pepsi Can stoves, or Pepsi Can cans. Thank you. And one forms the top, where I've cut the center out of and punched holes around it, and the other forms the bottom. They're each only about so high. And then you take a slice out of a Pepsi can, and you make the inside collar. So there's actually a thickness to this. There's a chamber. There's an inside wall, and there's the outside wall. And so the liquid goes inside, and when I pass this around, you'll see there's 3 little hole punch, half holes at the bottom. And that allows the alcohol to go down into the reservoir in the bottom. And then you light the center, and what that does is it heats the chamber, heats the walls, and then your liquid fuel turns into gas fuel, and blue flame comes out of the holes like a Coleman white gas stove.
They work great. I used one for years. If you showed me how to make it.
Yeah, well, we did for Expo, right? An Expo
Well, no, this is
activity.
your house.
Right,
Years
right.
ago.
Okay.
So it burns yellow flame out of the center while it's heating up, and then when it heats up the chamber and it converts that liquid fuel to a gas fuel, then it comes out with blue holes, which is hotter, right? And easy peasy and hot. So I can pass that around so you can see how it's made.
How about a workshop in September? Shall we do that?
It's a hands-on one, and I don't know if well, I can show you how it's made.
set made, set partially made. So
Oh, yeah,
you just
I-
sort of parse the stuff.
I have that already, yeah. And I can take pictures of it and show it up there.
We can talk about that.
How do you carry the fuel? Just in a fuel bottle?
I went to the Grand Canyon once with one of these, or 3 of us, working off of a stove like that. And this is the most annoying thing to open. So by the end of the trip, it was a 5-day trip, by the end of the trip, we just about had it, trying to get this open each time. So I carried in a fuel bottle. And I have a fuel bottle that is green. So at home, if my bottles are red or silver, it's white gas. And if it's a green one, it's denatured alcohol. That's how I tell it apart. But just a typical fuel can. And you can mark it. Okay. So I have one more thing to show. It has nothing to do with stoves, but no, you need a tree. You need a tree. So those are my 2 favorite stoves to use. I also have a Whisker Light and I have a Coleman stove, but mostly we use those 2 stoves because I don't want to carry as much anymore. They're nice and light. So you guys have seen this, right? The Sawyer Squeeze. I love this thing. It's a water filter. Sawyer Squeeze water filter. And it comes with a bag. And this is where you put your bad water and you screw it on. And we had somebody coming in for presentation, I think it was REI or somebody, or Halloween. So you fill the bad water in here, and then it's called the squeeze because in theory you're supposed to squeeze the bag up here. And people say the bags that come with it, they don't recommend them because they fail. Mine haven't failed because I don't squeeze it. I just use it as a gravity feed. So I highly recommend this water filter as a gravity feed water filter. So what I did is I bought another, you can hold it for a second. So it comes with an adapter. I forget what they said it adapted for. But I used the adapter and the hose and screwed it on the bottom. Oh yeah, there's one more piece. What's that? Okay, I saw it. Bear with me. You gotta have the right pieces in place. Nope. And so when you get it, this is what you do. You sit around and figure out how these pieces go together. Right in the backyard. So I knew when I grabbed this out of the, yes, thank you for filling in the words. I can't talk and think at the same time. It's okay.
We like your ideas, so we're willing to wait.
You know what's going to happen is we're going to be in the middle of the next meeting, and I'm going to go, I got it. I figured it out. Sorry.
I'm trying to warn Michael that he is our executive director, so, you know.
Yeah. Anyway, I have to think about how I got it connected together, because that doesn't go on there. There's another thing that goes on there. No, sorry, it's all here. See? Okay, this screws in there. Keep these so kind of
Yes,
so.
I'd be happy to do that.
So when you buy it, just play around with the pieces until they fit together. It was all there. Okay, so you don't have to squeeze. It comes with this mesh bag. You put it in the mesh bag. This, the dirty water. Okay. So pretend that's filled with dirty water. Now you're the tree. You're a nail on the tree. There. And then you go set up your tent, or start your stove, or do whatever you need to do. This is a gravity feed. I don't recommend squeezing it, because they say the bags don't survive. But you don't need to squeeze it, just let it drip. So I went out and bought this additional bag, which I read on Amazon, and they spoke about it having good quality, and it seems to work up. And there's a catch though. So when I first did this out on the trail, I connected this to a old soda bottle. And I screwed this onto the soda bottle, and it started dripping, and I thought, great, it's gonna work. And then I walked away, and I came back, and there's no water in the soda bottle, besides those first few drips. And I'm like, it should work. Why isn't it working? And I slightly unscrewed the soda bottle, and it worked fine. No, it was pneumatic. had air in there. There was no room for the water to go in because there was air in the bottle. As soon as I released this, they gave a place for the air to go so the water could go in the bottle. So don't do that. Get a collapsible bag instead, which will fill and doesn't have to push the air out in order for water to take up the space. So it's a great lesson in pneumatics that air actually has substance to it.
This is what they use at the summit steward, campsites, where the summit stewards who live up on the mountain all summer, they have this at their little campsites down the mountain, where they stay all the time, and they constantly fill their water and have a system like this.
Yeah, easy peasy, and then you go do something else in camp, and you come back and your water's done, you don't have to sit there and pump. It does come with a syringe, which you should take with you to back flush it, which you have to do every now and then. But if you actually bought...
What do you back flush?
This goes on this side and push, no, it goes. I'll think about it. It's winter. We go this way, they say.
Yeah.
Look at here and go that way. So you know that little nubby I was looking for down there? This fits into it. And then you flush it back out again.
How do you put the water in the bag?
You unscrew it. So just fill the
So you
bag.
just put it in?
Yeah, or I use a Ziploc bag or something to fill it. But pretty much I just kind of, or I'll try to find a stream where it's flowing, which is better. And then because this doesn't have, it's a little bit of a twisting since nothing's giving, like on the end of a garden hose where you can screw it on. But you can work it out. So if you're going to buy a gravity feed water filter, the kind that have a 4-quart bag on each end, it's going to cost you over $150. But here, I'm just buying the Sawyer Squeeze and turning it into a gravity feed, and I highly recommend it.
How much is a Sawyer
Oh,
Squeeze?
somebody's got to help me. It's been a while. 50 maybe?
What, 50 or 15?
50, okay. Less than 50?
Okay.
And then just buy an extra bag, or it comes with 2 of these bags. So you just put one, I marked it dirty water, bad water. You can mark your other bag clean water. Both of my bags like that I've marked dirty. And so I can do 2 fills of that to fill this, because that's 1 quart, this is 2 quarts.
So I was just thinking of getting rid of this drinking bag because we never use it, but that's all it is. It's a
Just
drinking
drink
bag.
that, yeah.
Okay.
That
Sawyer
has,
Squeeze.
that has this size on it.
Okay.
And this is a cool one. Who is this? This is Evernew. And the cool thing about it is they give you a punji on it. So when it's empty, it's manageable in your pack. Gives you a little cord so that you can keep in mind that this is healthy. This is the off season. I don't remember how all this stuff works. There we go. There. So then it's manageable in your pack. You don't have to worry about it. Keep turning it up.
Nice.
So this was nice. Okay, one last thing. First aid. I love this stuff. It's lightweight, and it's the stuff that Red Cross puts on your arm after you've donated blood. It's called horse wrap. You can buy it in Eggway, or you can buy it in Rite Aid. I think it's probably cheaper in Eggway for horses.
Horse wrap?
Yeah. It's what they put, when they wrap up a horse's leg, their ankle. So it self-sticks to itself.
And how are you going to use it?
If I have to put gauze on, if I have to do a splint, it'll hold the splint, it'll be an ace bandage. It probably would hold the canoe together in some places.
Maybe it holds your boot together if it's coming apart?
Yeah.
You have that the last night for someone?
So in addition to duct tape, that's a handy thing to have.
Yes, great idea.
Barb, do you carry it in a hard, I carry mine in a hard container because the original roll, it glues itself together after one season.
That's a good one. Sticks.
Piece of Tupperware.
Oh, $29.97 for a Sawyer Squeeze, and then you pay a few bucks for an extra bag, and you very quickly have a inexpensive gravity feed.
A couple years ago, at the gear swap, somebody was selling a camp pocket thing that opens up on one end, so you can scoop it
Oh,
over,
yeah.
and it has a filter on the bottom,
Yeah.
and then you have to pay $3.
The key thing is whatever you get, just make sure it fits onto that thread. And you're good to go. Did I get all my toys back? Thank you. All right.
instead of using a standard paddle, I use what they call a Greenland paddle.
Louder.
Louder? Where's the microphone? We can hear you there. So, these paddles were actually the original kayak paddles. And I use them both with kayak and my packed canoe. And, you know, you go out and you buy a paddle at a store for $100 or more. These cost $5 a piece. They're made out of 2x4s. And you can go online and there's books in there about how to make a Greenland paddle. And they show you Greenland, color green, land. And you can see these are different sizes. And I've got probably 2 more that I've made. Some of them are shorter, they're called storm paddles. So if you get in really rough water, you have a shorter paddle. But the idea here is a regular kayak paddle has got a shorter blade on it, which is bigger. So when you're paddling with it, you're actually getting sort of a cavitation through there that transfers the energy up into the paddle, up in your arm, and right into your shoulder. And that's what causes a lot of shoulder injuries. By spreading that paddle out, this basically ends up with the same surface area as a regular paddle. But because it's spread out, when you put it in the water, you don't get that cavitation. The other thing is the proper way to paddle is to use your core. So you're not arm paddling, you're actually turning from your stomach. And you know, once you get the system with these paddles, it makes it easier to do that. And the only negative to this is you don't have the little cups here, and you're going to get wet. So, other than that, like I say, this is a lot of the Saturday paddlers that go paddling with me. We've all ended up making these, and we have our own little Greenland fleet, and we all have fun with it.
Do you use that for your whole paddling trip?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And I go just as fast as I would if I was using a regular paddle.
The fact that it's not very wide doesn't make a difference?
But again, you've got a longer blade, so you're actually going in the water
Okay,
longer.
all right.
And you're going at a fixed angle, so it's acting like a wing on a plane. So it's different. It's like, you know, when you have your other paddle, you readjust your blades on and stuff like that.
I would like Dave to see those.
So if you ever paddle, well, I mean, come fall, I'll be retired and maybe on Monday morning paddles. You can borrow them.
Okay, great. Nice.
That's it. Thank you.
I can talk. I'll try not to talk for too many hours. Can you hear me?
No?
Can you hear me?
One's just a standard.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
The other one's.
Do you hear me now? Hello.
Just
Can you hear me without it?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I didn't bring anything with me, but I saw there wasn't a lot of people to share, so I thought I'd come up with a couple of things. First of all, when I go hiking, whether it's backpacking or day hiking, there's a bunch of things I always have in my pack. One's a first aid kit. I'm not going to go into what's in the first aid kit. Another thing, just about always I have in my pack or eye, is some kind of a rain shell. And I still like Vortex. I don't know, maybe there's something better, but I think Vortex has always held up a lot longer than some of the new synthetics or coatings that seem to be very thin and fall apart. But I always have that. Sometimes it's a really great day in the summer. But I normally do. Another thing, if I go in the winter, whether it's by myself or I'm with a group, or if I'm leading a group on a Sunday night or something, I always have like a down jacket. And I always think of it not as security just for me if I get hurt or anybody else in the group. Because I know a lot of people don't carry that stuff. So I always have a jacket. If somebody's going to get in trouble, then that's what the jacket's for, whether it's me or somebody else. But what I wanted to talk about mainly is the thing I carry, I call my ditty bag. And in that, it's a lot of things I've used in emergency situations. As I said, I didn't bring it, but there I got wire ties, and I don't know if people know it, not a twist tie like you put on a grip wrapper. Wire ties are things for bundling wires together, a long strip of plastic, and you pull it through it so it stays. I fixed snowshoes with it a couple of times. You can fix boots with them. I also have in there duct tape, which comes in handy for fixing boots or part of your first aid kit. The U.S. Army and all the other branches of service, they don't put any of this wimpy little tape you buy and get one of those 3M little first aid. Put duct tape on it, it stays on. As a matter of fact, back when I used to be a whitewater boater, you punch a hole in the boat in the middle of the winter, you just let it dry, put duct tape on, it'd stay for the rest of the day. It's unbelievable stuff. Also in there I have a couple candles. I have a couple big lighters. I might have some tinder or something like that in case I have to start a fire besides the candle. That's what it's for, not for light, but if I want to get a fire going in a hurry. Another thing, if you ever want to get a fire going in a hurry, or for a reason, say in the winter or wet time, there's a couple things that will help you out. One is birch bark. I'm not saying go and, take all the bark off a tree. But you can find some use of that. You can take birch bark and you can dunk it in water, pick it up, shake it out, and it'll light. And also the little branches on evergreen trees that are still on the side of the trees that are dead. Great for starting fires. Let's say most of the time I have aquamura in there too, which is a two-part solution used for purifying water. But it's just nice to have these things along in case you need them for something. So I probably carry more than a lot of people do. I see people show up for winter day hikes and they got, just a fanny pack on. And I'm wondering how they're prepared for an emergency if that's all they carry. So that's some of the things I carry myself. Thank you.
Who else has something to share? Anybody bring another piece of equipment? I have something in my bag that I like. This is a Beuff, and this one is wool, but so it folds out like this. So most of the time I wear it I fold it in half and wear it like a neck warmer, okay? But then if it's a really cold day, I can always pull it up to, I can cover up my nose, and then I can cross-country ski with it like this if I want. Then sometimes I just wad it all up and use it as a headband. It covers just my ears, so I don't have to wear a hat. I can fold it over and do that. I can put it on my neck singly, and then I can pull it up over my head, and it's kind of like it can be a hat too in that situation, or it can be another layer under my hat, so I can, wear it like this. Okay, it doesn't overrun your hair, but it really keeps everything snug. So I can't overrate it. I love this thing.
Where do you get it?
You can get them at REI, any of the outdoor stores, Dick's, and hiking stores. They come in cotton and in polypropylene type things and wool. And this is so this is a full Beuff.
Yeah.
Then they sell half Beuffs, so they sell them this length. And they sell, something that's more like a headband. And so they come in prints, they come in solids, they come looking like a bandana. But I think they're good in all seasons. My kids wear them all the time in the summertime just to hold their hair off of their face. And when you're all sweaty and everything, yeah.
Did you saw it recently? Because I didn't see it.
Oh yeah, they're out there now, and they've been out for a long time.
They're great for cross-country skiing, because if it's a little cool, you can put it up over and you can breathe through it easily.
When it gets wet, you just turn it a little bit.
That's true.
So this one's a wicking material. Now he's a runner, and so depending on the conditions, I mean, these when the trails are icy, he can put these on his shoes and, what's this one called? Yak tracks, right. And so these are for less icy conditions, but then these micro spikes are great. They just slide right over your boots. You pull them on. I'm not really the right person to speak about this. I'm not the expert. I have a pair, and I've been using them on the winter hikes this year. You don't want to walk across. Here, honey, you should be doing this.
So, Jill told you about these?
Start, just start.
Everybody's used them before? Yes? Most of you have. These are micro spikes.
Come up this way because you're in the dark.
Well, I was going to sit down and...
Oh, okay.
They're really easy, relatively easy to put on. And because you can just throw them in your pack and then pull them out when you start getting icy patches, they're really handy. And I've used these several times. I'm not going to step on the floor because that wouldn't be good. But I've used these many times. Actually, it was my daughter who introduced me to these because she was going on a hike with her. I had these yak tracks, which I like to use for running. And they're good for that, but they're not nearly as good on an icy trail. She was using these. I was using those. She was doing a whole lot better job than I was keeping my balance in the ice. So, and they're really quite light, given what you get out of them. So, I know most of you have them. Most people who hike in winter run across them pretty quickly, but these are my favorite. And for the one or two of you who haven't used them before, I highly recommend them. And they're like 35 or 40 bucks. These really, sorry? 60, I'm sorry, more like 60, okay. But these are what get me out in the winter and on icy trails when I would be reticent to go out hiking some days.
It sure changes the situation when you're going to go up and down hills. You don't worry about sliding down it. It makes a big difference.
Yep. Questions? Okay.
Okay, anybody have another piece of equipment? You don't even have to have it with you. What can you tell us about that's saved you? One thing I do love are my poles, my hiking poles. I always take them because at this point they are helping my knees a lot, saving my knees. So I like that for hills. Denny?
So it's rain pants, but this happened a few years ago. We were out hiking in the winter, and one of the party broke through the ice and fell in the water.
I fell in the water.
So it was, that's right, it was Donna. It was Donna. So she fell in the water, and we were on a long hike. We had a car at each end, so we were about halfway through, very cold day. She's wet. So I have my rain pants with me. Donna put them on, and she was able to stay warm, even though her pants were wet, because she had the rain pants on that kept her body heat in.
Wow.
So now I always, no matter what, I always carry rain pants in the winter.
And I always hike with Danny.
Because she's
the same size rain pants.
That works.
So anyway, that's my tip.
That's a great tip. That's good to know. Okay.
Jill, I wanted to build on Denny's with the rain pants. I find that all outdoor overpants that I buy, I make sure they're full zips. So my rain pants now are full zips. My fleece pants for winter camping are full zips. My overpants are full zips.
What do you mean, full zips on the side?
Yeah, so
Why?
you can get, so I can get them on without having to take off my snowshoes or my boots.
Oh.
So winter camping, if I get to camp, and so while my body heat, my clothes are warm, my body's warm, I gotta retain that heat before I slow down. So I want to get a fleece layer on, and I want to get an overlayer on over the fleece to keep the wind out. But I don't want to take off my snowshoes because one, it's going to slow me down, and two, I need the snowshoes on to pack down the snow. So with the snowshoes on, with my boots on, I can take my fleece pants, which are full zips, and it kind of turns them into like a diaper because the top zips down here and the bottom will zip up to there. So you kind of put them between your legs and then connect the straps and then zip them up and zip them down. And then you can get warm right away. And then the same thing with the overlayer. You put them on kind of like a diaper and then you zip them up and you zip them down. And then you don't have to take off your snowshoes. So I learned after doing the AT because I didn't have that for the AT. So every time I had to put on my rain pants, I had to take off my boots, which slows you down or you're stuck standing in wet. After that, I got full zip rain pants and it makes it so much easier to put them on. So I highly recommend any outer pants being full zips.
Okay. Ashley, come on in.
Joe, I got one thing.
Okay.
Nobody's mentioned this before, but I always try to carry some rope with me when I'm even out for a day hike, and especially for backpacking. For backpacking, I tend to like to use, if I can, just a plastic sheet to lie on the ground. You know, if I need it, if I expect rain, then have another just piece of nylon tarp that you just tie down at 4 or 6 places, and then just sleep under that. And hopefully put on enough bug spray to be able to go to sleep. What I find, having rope, now this is a little bit heavier gauge than I tend to carry. I like to buy a yellow rope that's maybe, I think, 5 to 6 millimeters width, which is really stronger. The parachute cord I hate because I always end up getting tangled. It takes me more time to untangle it and make use of it than it does just a straight, pure cord. The other thing I found handy is to know 2 or 3 knots. If you know a bowline, if you know a round turn and 2 half hitches, and if you know a slip knot of some kind. Those will get you through most events that you'll need. But I always try to carry this. One of my rules is I tell my children and my grandkids, you can never have too much rope. There's so many times you end up trying to tie down a covering or a tarp someplace, and you just find out you just don't have enough to get it tight enough or stretch it over the furthest tree. So always take more than you think you will ever need.
They ever tied you up?
No, not yet. Like 50 feet of it. Not yet.
Jackie, I think he had a question for you.
50 feet of it? Well, 50 feet is a minimum. Well, sure, depending on weight. You know, if I'm going backpacking, you know, at least 100 feet. You know, a lot of times, in the Adirondacks, the trees are pretty close together. Even in the Adirondacks, you want a partially open place, you don't need more. You can never have too much.
Well, you're carrying it, so.
We're carrying it, but that's it. That's why you go with those.
Can I build out jacks?
Absolutely.
Yes.
So if you want to hang up your clothes, so carrying clothespins, it's kind of ridiculous because it's heavy, right? So all you need is a rope. You fold it in half. Oh, you could be a tree too. So on this end, let's say you tie it out to that tree, and then you take this end and you twist them.
Ah, okay.
Just keep twisting. You're a tree, you're stationary, but that's okay. This tree's going to go. So just keep twisting. And then eventually when you think you have enough twist, know that as you stick clothes in here, the twists are going to get tighter. And then you can hang your clothes and you don't have to bring any clothespins, or if you just flop it over the top when the wind comes, it'll unflop it, but this way you can stick in, you know, one pant's leg and the other pant's leg and then a t-shirt or whatever, and you automatically have a clothesline.
This woman is ingenious. I mean,
Then,
if
you've run out of time to get it dry and the sun's going down, you attach a rope here, and then you sit over here while you're having dinner, and you pull it and you swing it back and forth. It's been done.
Sure. That's why you always need more rope than you think of. 50 foot.
Well, if you're going to tie, you know,
food up in a tree, you need more than 100 feet.
I didn't put it in. So if you're in the Adirondacks in May and June, but other places too, because I've had this happen locally in the Catskills, you can buy at places like even, I've seen them at Walmart and obviously places like REI, just a mosquito head net. And they're cheap. I've seen them under $5, up from $5, $10. And it basically will go over your head. And if you're in black fly season, trust me, it gives you a lot of relief. And I've used mine even locally. And I've used them in Adirondacks during black fly season. And it really made it palatable. They also sell, although I've only used mine once, a bug jacket that literally goes over the entire upper torso of your body. If they're really bad, sometimes you need that. But buying the mosquito head nets, if you're going to hike in the Adirondacks, black fly season, or even the Catskills, it's worth a few bucks to have those.
Where do you get them?
You can get them at any of the other stores. I used to buy them at Kmart, I used to buy them at Walmart, and they're cheap. So they work out pretty good.
It's best if they're black.
Really?
The green ones are hard to see through. Black is the easiest to see through.
And you have to remember, if you're going to eat an apple, that you shouldn't eat it this way. You got to split it up.
But you can sometimes drink through them.
What are they called again?
Bug nets, mosquito head nets.
That's the way they're sold.
You'll find them a lot of times. Just go to these places when you're in Dick's or you're in Walmart. Just go to the camping gear, because that's where you find them, one of these things. And that's where I typically found this. Okay? But they're so cheap, it's well worth it, and they're very, very light, so there's no weight involved.
I have some in my car if you want me to bring them in.
All right, anybody think of something else that they can just tell us about, please?
Well, you guys are all talking about all this stuff, and I'm thinking of Henry David Thoreau, who said, "We are measured by what we can afford to live without." But Carol and I have found one item. If I had to make sure that I had this item in either our backpack or our panniers when we're doing our long bike rides, and that is copper wire. Thin copper wire. You can fix almost anything with thin copper wire. I got her out of Franconia's notch on snowshoes when her snowshoes broke. I got her off Monarch Peak on a bike when
The
pannier rack broke. And I would not go anywhere without a length of copper wire. And I just fold it up to about that wide, or that long, excuse me, about that long, and stick it in my backpack, and it's always there.
In a similar vein, one of the things I always carry along my backpack is just a little bit of
Oh, yeah.
there's a lot of different things you can do with that. And I just tear off a little bit, and I put it on a roller. Again, there's no weight to it. I've got a bag of more of the survival things that I carry when I go on longer hikes, and that's one of the things I always have.
Any other thoughts that are coming to mind?
I'm a chicken.
You're a chicken?
I'm a chicken.
Chicken.
When I go backpacking, I carry about 8 or 9 tie wraps. Ones are about a foot long and about 4 inch thick. And I carry orange, heavy-duty garbage bags.
Orange garbage bags?
2.
Why?
Right rain gear. If you get caught, you can use as a, put one on this way, put the other one this way. You got a complete tent.
Okay. And what are you planning to use your ties for?
I carry the tie wrap for if you need to tie something up. And I want to have to worry about knots. Like when you're talking about using a poncho or whatever. You don't have to worry about having grommets, because all you have to do is pick up a stone, put it in the corner, put the tie wrap around that, and that'll hold it so it won't slip off. And you can put a cord into that and then tie that off to something.
And if you use the point of your knife, you can actually get those tie wraps apart so that they're not single use. Right? You can slip them back out. Okay.
And if you want to spend more money, you can get the replacement.
That's right.
John, I don't think most people heard what you said.
Home Depot and Macy's always what Home Depot sells. Once they have a little release on them so you can use them all. Little spring release.
Okay, I saw another thought.
So it was my first time
Can you
to the...
stand up just because I think it's a
bit
little
about this in front of you. It was my first time in the lodge this past winter. And I've climbed mountains, however, never ever put on a pair of snowshoes. So I thought I'd be ahead of the game. I went to REI, I rented snowshoes. I went over to Letchworth Park, I found the craziest deer trails ever, and I thought if I can go up and down these, I could probably be all right with the groups at the lodge. So, anyways, after that, I thought, wow, I don't want to spend all that money on these rented ones from REI. I'll borrow them from my son and his wife there. They're avid Rocky Mountain climbers and Adirondack climbers, etc. And my son said, well, they're rather expensive. Take good care of them. And I'm thinking, look, I just need them for a couple of days and maybe up and down the mountain there. And so I went with my group, Mount Van Bovenberg, up and down. Definitely we needed the snowshoes. And I was very careful all the way up the mountain with these snowshoes because I can't get them scratched or anything, you know, and I'm going up. And everything went pretty well until I got to the top. And I'm thinking, I'm terrified to go down because it just seemed like I probably was going to not do too well, whatever. And there was Bill. I forgot Bill's last
Bill
name.
Lindenfelser?
Yes. And he
Bill Schweinfurt. Who runs the weekend?
Schweinfurt. It was that Bill. He said, Robin, you just got to get over it. He said, those snowshoes you have on are MSR. I knew it was help. MSR. They will take care of you. He said, imagine you're just taking a walk through the park and you're going to get on down and you have to learn to trust these. So I kept thinking that in my mind. And little by little, I said, just try it. Those shoes were so wonderful. I don't know who else was at the lodge except for you over there. But I know there were others that had different snowshoes, and I know that I would learn they fell backwards, they fell sidewards, you know, and so I truly believe in the snowshoe. And I don't have one to demonstrate. I had to give it back to my son.
The walking advertisement for the...
With no scratches.
Thanks for sharing that.
I know we're getting close to time. Just one thing along the lines of something to think about carrying, not necessarily an extra piece of gear, but a piece of knee. I always bring with me, no matter where